Saxon Math, Course 3, Lesson 3, Addition and Subtraction Word Problems. In this lesson, we're going to be looking at word problems, breaking it down into sections, and solving it by keywords. Let's go ahead and take a look at example 1. It says, in the first half of the game, Heidi scored 12 points. In the whole game, she scored 27 points. How many points did she score in the second half? Let's underline the key factors of this word problem. In the first half of the game, let's underline first half, Heidi scored 12 points. In the whole game, she scored 27 points. How many points did she score in the second half? Now we notice we have two separate sections here. We know how many points Heidi scored in the first half and how many points Heidi scored as her total amount. The total is also always a key factor. If you have your total, that means we're missing a part of the addition side, which means we have to figure out what that part we're actually missing is. So our total is the first thing we're going to write down. 27 is our total. And like I said, when we have an addition equation, we have one part plus a second part equals our total. And because we have our total, that means we're missing one of these parts. And to figure out what that other part is, we're going to take what we know, which is Heidi scored 12 points in the first half, and subtract it from our total. And we'll end up getting 15 for second half. So we underlined the key factors, realized that we had a total, subtracted what we knew to figure out the second half of the game, which was 15. We'll follow the same exact steps in example 2. We'll underline the key factors and then figure out exactly what we're going to do to solve the equation. Alberto went from the store with a $20 bill. So, went to the store with a $20 bill. He bought a loaf of bread and a half gallon of milk. That information isn't that big of a deal, so we're not going to underline anything in that sentence. The clerk gave him $15.17 in change. How much money did Alberto spend on bread and milk? So you underline the key factors. Alberto, of course, went to the store with $20. He spent money and ended up getting $15.17 back in change. Let's figure out how much Alberto spent. Now, look at those two numbers, those two scenarios that we underlined first. The $20 bill and $15.17 in change. Do we have a total amount? We do. That means, because we have our total, we're going to be subtracting what from our total? The change he received back. Because we have that total, we know for a fact that when we subtract this change, it'll tell us how much he spent at the store, which will end up being $4.83. Example 3. We're going to underline the important facts, and then we are going to solve this equation. The hike to the summit of Mount Whitney began from the upper trailhead at 8,365 feet. All right, that's an important fact, so let's underline it. The elevation from Mount Whitney's summit is 14,496 feet. That's also important information because that's saying that is the length of the whole summit. Then, of course, the last sentence is important. What is the elevation gain from the trailhead to the summit? Now, of course, I'm going to keep repeating this over and over again. We take a look at the numbers given and we see if we have our total amount. We do have our total amount, which is 14,496. The reason why that's our total amount is because the total distance from the upper trailhead to the top of the summit. Or from the ground to the top of the summit. That is the total length of how long Mount Whitney summit actually is. Now we're going to subtract what from it? 8,365 feet. Which will end up getting 6,131 feet is our answer. So we took a look at the numbers, we found our total, and we were able to use that to find out what the distance is from the upper trailhead to the top of the summit. Let's do another example. Example 4. President John F. Kennedy was elected in 1960 at the age of 43. What year was he born? Important facts. Elected in 1960, at the age of 43. And we have to figure out what year he was born. So, what's given? Do we have a total amount? Do we have a total date that we need to use or a total age that we need to use? Great. 1960 is it. 1960 was when he was elected. So the 1960 would be considered our total. And then we'll subtract the 43 because that's how old he was in 1960. So if we subtract the 43, which we'll end up getting 1917, which is the year he was born. So the 1960 is our total number, the number where we end at, the peak number that we get to. The 43 is how old he is, so we have to subtract that from 1960 to get the number, to get the year that John F. Kennedy was born, which is 1917. Of course, guys, if you have any questions, please come see me. Always look for that total. It always helps you solve word problems if you have that total amount. See you later.